Hi, everybody. I had a few moments and thought I would read you one of my favorite stories for preschoolers. If you're familiar with the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, well, this may seem a little familiar. So hang tight and enjoy the story. This one is called Somebody and the Three Blairs. One Sunday morning, in a small house on the edge of town, Mr. Blair, Mrs. Blair, and Baby Blair were sitting down to breakfast. "Oh, it's such a fine morning," said Mr. Blair. "Let's take a walk in the park." "What a good idea," said Mrs. Blair. "Feed the ducks," said Baby Blair. So they took their coats and a bag of breadcrumbs and set out for the park. But while they were gone, somebody came to the door. And somebody knocked. And when no one answered, somebody tiptoed in. He sniffed and sniffed. He looked at the breakfast table. "This food is too dry," said somebody. And he said, "This food is too noisy," said somebody. "Ah, but this food is just right." And then he looked for somewhere to sit down. "Oh, this seat is too hard," said somebody. "But this seat is too wobbly," said somebody. "But this one is just right." And then he went to look for something to play with. This game is too noisy," said somebody. "This game is too cold," said somebody. "Ah, but this game is, you guessed it, just right." And he looked for something to drink. This rain is too hot," said somebody. "Oh, this pond is too small," said somebody. "Ah, but this stream, it's just right," said somebody. And then he looked for a place to sleep. This bed is too big," said somebody. "Oh, this bed's too small," said somebody. "Ah, but this bed is just right." And when Mr. and Mrs. Blair and Baby Blair came back from the park, they saw the breakfast table. "Somebody's been eating my crunchies," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been eating my Krispies," said Mrs. Blair. "All gone," said Baby Blair. And they looked around the room. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been sitting in my chair," said Mrs. Blair. "Busted," said Baby Blair. And then they went into the kitchen. "Somebody's been emptying the cupboard," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been raiding the refrigerator," said Mrs. Blair. "Naughty, naughty," said Baby Blair. And then they went up the stairs. "Flood!" shouted Mr. Blair. "Help!" shouted Mrs. Blair. "Lot of water!" shouted Baby Blair. And they looked in the bedrooms. "It's a burglar," said Mr. Blair. "It's a monster," said Mrs. Blair. It's a big teddy bear," said Baby Blair. "It's escaped from the zoo," said Mr. Blair. "It's escaped from the circus," said Mrs. Blair. It's escaped down to Dwayne Pipe," said Baby Blair. "Somebody phone the police," said Mr. Blair. "Somebody call the fire department," said Mrs. Blair. "Somebody gone home," said Baby Blair. "Bye-bye. Come play again tomorrow." The end.